Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. Winning cures everything. It is Wednesday, January the 13th. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And lots to talk about today. Breaking news right off the top. I mean, just as quick as I hit go live, I got a notification that James Harden has been traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Thoughts?
Wow. Harden, Kyrie, look, KD is a great player. A great player.
He's going to have to be the grown-up.
The other two are great players, but, man, they got some screw looses.
That is putting it very
yeah, that's it. KD's going to have to be a grown-up.
Yeah. Can he do that?
Or Nash is going to have to be a grown-up.
Somebody is.
Somebody's going to have to put somebody in a corner.
Ooh, that is something else, man. That is something else. I don't know what to make of it. Like his comments, the other day, Harden's comments about, what's going on in Houston is not fixable and blah, blah. That is a very easy way to get tossed out.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Terry said you had a good birthday. How many White Claws did you drink in that celebration? I did not. I drank 3 Tall Boy Coors Lights, and our buddy Ryan brought over some private reserve, has not yet been released, 124 proof bourbon that kind of messed with me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. So I did celebrate a bit. But yeah, so that is the breaking news. James Harden is now a Brooklyn Net, and that team looks like a complete disaster. Good gracious.
Well, I mean, they're going to put up points. There's
they'll
no
probably
doubt
be good
about that. They're going to win games.
They got 3 of the best players in the world on their team
do.
right now. But what does that mean when all of them have issues, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go through the intro. Of course, winningcureseverything.com is the website. You can find everything you need to know about us over there. If you missed the live show, you can always grab the podcast over on whatever your favorite podcast app is. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, whatever. The only one that I know of that you can actually leave a review on is Apple Podcasts. So if you would do that, leave a nice 5-star review, a written review. You ask a question or something cool in there, we will certainly read it on the show. I believe Apple Podcast has gotten their reviews fixed for like a month and a half. Their written reviews were not populating. So all you could see was the numbers going up. I believe that it has been fixed. So Go ahead and leave those written reviews, and we will get them, we will see them, and we will read them on the show. So we appreciate that. Thank me for my service is saying NBA is going to play with 3 basketballs in Brooklyn. That's kind of what it seems like. Taylor said, Gary, I'm glad you talked me into staying away from that Kentucky game last night. Yeah, Alabama beat Kentucky by 20. That was the worst loss under John Calipari at home in his entire Kentucky career. Pretty ridiculous. And that's with Alabama having 3 starters out. The Wildcats do not look good right now. I will say that. Bertie said, oh, yes, happy belated, Gary. Hope it was a good one. It was. Anytime, by the way, I looked it up. It's only happened one other time. There was one other time that Alabama played on January 10th, so the day before my birthday. But yeah, January 11th, they beat Clemson 45-40 back in 2016. That's the only other time. So still ridiculous that it has happened twice and that we won both of those games. I am a lucky man, and I know it, and I am appreciative. So let's go ahead and let's see. Pierce Morgan jumps in, said, fat American. I don't know if he's talking about you or me, or maybe both. Either way, Pierce, we appreciate you jumping in here on Twitch, for sure. Let's talk about Alabama and Ohio State. The lowest ratings for a championship game ever, which was slightly surprising to me, considering the name brands that were attached here, until you start thinking about the idea that these are the 2 most hated fan bases. This was basically Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton. Nobody outside of those fan bases really wanted to watch this game.
Nope.
And you have all of the other stuff that is going on. Every championship series or game or whatever in every other sport during the pandemic has dropped significantly. Do you think that there's anything to, now, of course, the streaming numbers have not come in. This is 18.7 million is what they said watched. That is the lowest of the BCS or the CFP era. The next one was, what was it? USC and Oklahoma, the 55-19 game.
That wouldn't surprise me because nobody really believed that Oklahoma belonged. That was the year Auburn went undefeated and got left out, right?
Yep, 2004, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's coming off of Oklahoma basically getting in 3 out of 5 years and not winning any of them and kind of getting beat the hell out of in all of them.
Yeah. So, so yes, the ratings were low. Everybody was a little surprised by that. I don't know that they would have been any better had Clemson gotten there because I think everybody's tired of Alabama-Clemson. You might have had an uptick if you got Notre Dame and Ohio State.
No. I disagree. I completely disagree. I think Notre Dame's in. I think if you get another school in, I think numbers go crazy. I do think we're getting fatigued, Gary.
Oh, 100%.
And the sport needs to figure this out. Dan Wetzel, and I don't know if it was Dan or Pete that claimed it as this, but from Yahoo, one of these two guys, and this is when they said this is the analogy. College football has become women's college basketball. It is not fun for anybody that's not a Duke fan or not a UConn fan.
Yeah,
that's the truth. And every now and then, Mississippi State can be good, and South Carolina can be good, and Baylor can be good, and Notre Dame can be good. But none. It's all you got 4 teams basically raffling for number 2, and can one of those 4 take out the giant? I've come up with different ways to try to fix this. I don't know if it'll help. I can't figure out for the life of me, and this is the competitive part, okay? I'm not a super competitive guy, all right? I'm not a guy that, has to get credit for everything, and I will never find greatness because I don't have that killer instinct, okay, to really sacrifice to find greatness. But I can't understand these people that are rated that high are willing to go play behind 3 other people rated that high. And you've got guys on that team that are 5-star guys that could be 3-year starters and go to the NFL, that instead they'll start for 1 year and go to the NFL and sit for 2. That is that mindset is strange to me. That mindset is foreign to me. I don't understand it. And I don't know what you can do about that. But Alabama won't start. They won't play a 4-star player next year. They just won't.
No, they will. They absolutely
I don't know, man.
will. Because they, even in this game, they only had 12 5-stars that they had recruited. So it's only 12, but it was 58 4-stars. Like it's still ridiculous, right? It's just a ton of I don't even know. It's talent development, but it is the elites of the sport have started to develop the top talent at a level that is just unprecedented. Ohio State and Alabama are the 2 leaders as far as NFL draft picks and whatnot go. So if you have good gracious, if you have all of these other things going on, like there's no way for other teams to catch up. Now, I wonder about the name, image, likeness legislation that will eventually pass, because maybe that gets it spread out a little bit. Maybe, maybe something
at the end of the
changes.
Day, maybe because now instead of sitting for 2 years, you can go play for 2 years and you can get paid for 2 years. But the car dealerships around Tuscaloosa ain't paying everybody. They're not paying a 3rd-string guy that's not touching the field for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that helps. Maybe it does. It sounds like sour grapes to the guy that's not that, but you have to look at some point in time the good of the sport. The sport's dying. I mean, it really is dying. Yeah. I love this sport. But it's absolutely being killed by itself. Birdie said, I think Bama Coastal, Bama Cincy would have been huge.
Yes.
Maybe.
No, yeah. But here's the thing. Do you think Bama beats those teams by 30? Because, yeah, sure they do, but they just beat the hell out of this team. But just seeing fresh blood in there would change everything rating-wise. It really would.
Yes, I think so 100%. I mean, last year, LSU and Clemson, even though Clemson had been there
Clemson
numerous
was there.
times.
All you need is one other team to be there to give the rest of the country hope. Because while Alabama has a massive – this is what bothers me about these networks that whore themselves out to ratings by putting on terrible games because one school has a massive fan base. What they don't understand is if you let someone else in, everybody in the country that loves this sport that's not a fan of the Blue Bloods will watch that game, and it will get crazy numbers because everybody's wondering, can this new fresh team win it all? And that matters.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Last year, you had 3 teams that have made it into this playoffs over and over and over again, and one new team. Now, that one new team happened to be the number 1 seed, so you don't have to be the underdog in it, but everyone liked seeing, for the most part, they like seeing this team that hasn't made it into the playoffs and hasn't been in the playoff competition or conversation for several years now, so it's not like they're perennially there, get there and beat the hell out of the other 2 guys. Yeah. Like, that meant a lot to people, and it's not that I'm an LSU fan. It's everybody in the country likes seeing Oklahoma get put in a closet and Clemson get put in a closet. They liked seeing it. Yeah. If you're not a fan of those schools specifically, you enjoyed watching that.
There's another thing about the games that were being played on January 1st. The ratings for both of the semifinal games were higher than they were for the championship game.
Yeah.
And that has not happened before.
Well, I think Notre Dame had a lot to do with that. I really do.
Our group chat, by the way, also, I mean, the guys from Northwestern also said that, honestly, they needed reminders that the championship game was even happening. This is something that you've talked about with ESPN. They don't advertise outside of their own network.
Not even their network, their stations.
Yeah.
Like, this game was on ABC, but I don't know that they advertised a lot that it was happening.
It was on ESPN. Only
it was
ESPN.
Just ESPN? For some reason, I thought I watched it on ESPN. Oh, no. It was their NFL game that I watched on ABC that was simulcast.
Yep.
That's on ESPN.
The NFL went ahead and made that happen.
That's right.
College football.
That's insane. But you're right. That's insane that they don't advertise outside of their stations that anything's going on. We did not. I follow this sport religiously, and I just assumed that the Heisman Trophy was going to be on a Saturday because it's been on a Saturday my entire life. Yeah. Why would it not be on a Saturday? And when it happened on a rando Tuesday, I thought, what the hell is this? When did that happen? I'm seeing this YouTube clip, and I'm seeing Devontae Smith won the Heisman. I didn't even know what was going on. I'm sitting there watching old school MASH. I'm binging MASH on Hulu right now. What am I doing?
It happened. It was at 6 p.m. They had to get it in before whatever basketball game.
Yeah, before some basketball tip. I just didn't expect it, and it's a poor job, I think, on ESPN, and just to not advertise stuff out. That has something to do with it. I think the national championship game, most people know when it's coming because you've kind of known that schedule and seen it for a long time.
Well, the casual fans likely do not. And that's right. That's the deal, right? And that's where most of these ratings come from. It's the casual. That's what the Super Bowl does, all that. The highest-rated NFL playoff game was the Saints and the Bears, and that's because it was in the typical Sunday afternoon window. And it was 30 million people. That was 12 million more people that watched that disgusting Saints-Bears game than watched the CFP National Championship game. Taylor brings up a good point. Monday night in Eastern Standard Time is a bad time for me to watch when I don't have a dog in the fight. It's true. I mean, the game wasn't over until after 11 o'clock.
And do you think anybody on the West Coast, the reason they started so late is because they want those West Coast eyes. College football needs to understand they have lost the West Coast. They've lost it.
Yes.
They need to stop catering the television schedule to them. Nobody on the West Coast is watching.
Well, and this year they set it up a little differently, and it was at 7:20 p.m. Central Time as opposed to 8:20 p.m.
I was about to say
Central.
Usually it's 8:30 is when it usually gets kicked off, something like that.
Oh, it's absurd. Just absurd. Birdie said, especially because they go into the year saying only 4 of the 150-plus Division I teams, it's 130, but either way, have a chance. And he said that was my point there. Something fresh, regardless of the outcome, would have been more supported. Yeah, I agree.
No, we completely agree with that. Now, talk about the game a little bit, okay?
So at 52-24 was the final, 35-17 at the half. So if you had Alabama first half, you covered. If you had Alabama period, you covered. If you had the over, that hit. Now, if you got it at 76, like right up at game time, then you pushed on this thing. Our over 74.5, over 75 hit, but just barely. Mac Jones, 36 out of 45, 464 yards, 5 touchdowns. He broke Joe Burrow's record from last year by, 1 yard, I believe. Yeah. And the 5 touchdowns, of course, that tied Burrow's record. Devontae Smith, 12 receptions, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns in basically one half. Let's see, it didn't break the yardage record. It broke the receptions and tied the touchdown record that Jamar Chase set last year. This was a complete beating. There was no chance for Ohio State at all in this game. It had nothing to do with Trey Sermon going out. It had nothing to do with even the defensive tackle and the defensive end going out.
This game went exactly the way I thought it was going to.
You were dead on.
Alabama, Ohio State's going to find ways to score some, but Alabama won't punt. And I think y'all punt it once and you turn the ball over once.
Yep. So what we talked about as a possibility, they used every freaking bullet in the barrel that they had against Clemson in that first game. And it looks like they could have saved some of those looks. Every look that they had, even with Alabama starting safety Jordan Battle going out on an ejection like early second quarter, even with Malachi Moore, another starting safety, being out for the game due to an injury, even with those guys out, Alabama looked like they knew exactly what Ohio State was going to run almost the entire time. I mean, it was absolutely insane to watch. Birdie said, how good is that Jones kid? Man, he's accurate as heck. Yeah, Alabama, like Mac Jones, it didn't matter if Najee Harris wasn't in. It didn't matter if Devontae Smith wasn't in. It didn't matter that Landon Dickerson wasn't in. He still moved the ball down the field almost effortlessly. Even on an injured ankle, he was still able to do that in the second half. It was way different than what I thought it would be. I did not trust Alabama's defense. I thought Ohio State would give them some different looks. I thought that they would be able to. You know what drove me nuts? So Ohio State never attacked the weaknesses of the Alabama defense, and that is exactly what we talked about, the middle of the field. They had tight ends that they could use to do that. They could have run routes with those receivers.
I didn't understand that. I watched it. Oh. Ryan Day looked lost in that game.
Yes.
And that's play calling, man. That's not Alabama's defense put them in a certain, weird look and made it complicated on them. The middle of the field was still open, and Alabama lost a position that they're weak at already. Weak at is a very relative term.
True.
But the weakest part of the team, they lost a guy to targeting pretty early, and they still couldn't expose the opening. And it's not because they couldn't, quote unquote, they didn't try.
Ryan Day stated after the ballgame in his postgame press conference, he said that there is an immense amount of pressure that if you don't score on this team, if you don't score on Alabama, then you've already lost the ballgame. Like if you lose a possession.
Yep.
And he said that puts so much pressure on you as a play caller, as
but that
whatever.
Doesn't mean to stop.
That's my
point. They never did the one thing we thought they could do to get any third down they needed.
It's like they talked themselves out of it time and time again.
They were very happy beating Clemson.
Yeah.
They looked, listen, they didn't have a desire to win the national championship on the board. Their goal when the season started that they looked at every week was beat Clemson. Yeah. It wasn't winning a national title. That's insane. That whole concept drives me insane. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
because there's a world in which you don't play Clemson, all right? What if you got matched up with Notre Dame? What if you get all 10 of your games in and you're the number 1 seed and you get matched up with Notre Dame and then you don't play Clemson? You've wasted an entire season of, quote-unquote, motivation and locker room like whatever. I don't understand that goal is your goal for the season was to beat a team that really wasn't even on your schedule. What happens if Notre Dame beats them in the ACC title game and then Clemson doesn't even make the playoff? Like, what are we like? You've now like all your motivation all year just goes away. Like, all right, now we just got to show up and play football.
It's weird.
That's weird to me. I think that's weird.
And it's exactly what I brought up to you on the show multiple times on the SBR show. Like, there is a world in which they only wanted to get Clemson back.
You were right about that, and I can't comprehend that line of thinking. So I'm never going to see that angle. I'm never going to bet that angle. I don't understand the idea of Clemson picked them 11th, and so we really want to beat them now. It's the playoffs. If you don't really want to beat the other team because if you lose, you don't get to play football anymore, I can't help you. We can't have a conversation about motivation. It can't be that other team really upsets you, and that's why you want it to really beat them. We're in the playoffs now. There's the idea of motivation, the idea of locker room speeches to get somebody right up are over with. If you can't do that on your own as a highly, highly talented college athlete, then we can't have a conversation about you being successful at anything.
Justin Fields, 17 out of 33, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 6 carries for 67 yards. They did take advantage of him running the football some. Master Teague looked okay, but he's kind of a stiff runner. He doesn't do a lot of those cuts and jukes and whatnot. 15 carries, 65 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns there. Chris Olave, 8 receptions, 69 yards. Garrett Wilson, 3 for 50 and 1 touchdown. This was, just as methodical and ridiculous of a beating as it seems to be. This was Alabama, Texas A&M, and it's the exact same score. There was never a point in that ballgame where you felt like Alabama was in danger. And I think that had a lot to do with the viewership as well. So Taylor and Birdie both said, yes, Clemson was their championship game, period. And then Birdie said it looked like Ohio quit halfway through that second quarter. The idea to punt the football back with 2 minutes left in the game or in the half, or whatever. Like, you knew that if you gave them the ball back that they were going to score again. So and then it was done. It was 35-17 at the half, and then it's done. Yeah, you can't come back from 3 scores.
And Alabama's getting the ball after halftime.
So
I watched the game with some friends that have asked me for a long time to watch it, which is why me and you didn't watch it, which I hated. I'd rather watched it with you. I say that. I had a really good time with the guys that I hung out with. But that entire second half, we just talked.
Yeah.
It literally was background noise.
Well, that's what happened over here. I was sitting and watching by myself.
I saw Devonta Smith go to the locker room, and when I saw him just casually go into the locker room, I knew, I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't listening. I didn't know, is he coming back? Is he not? I saw the way he was walking just crazy slow to the locker room. I was like, oh, he's not coming back. Because if he had a chance to come back, he would be running back there to get whatever treatment he's going to get so he could run back and get back quickly. The fact that he was it was the weirdest slow walk I've ever seen. I thought, no, there's no way he's coming back. He's out for the day. Which was fine because his numbers at that point were ridiculous. Bama didn't need him, but you still would have thought, I would have liked to have seen a full game of his. I would have liked to have seen him really, really put a stamp on it. This was a season that was really special for him.
Oh, 100%.
So anyway, but that's like the context of what I was paying attention in the background. It stayed on. We talked about things because hung out with guys I hadn't hung out with in a while, and that was it. It was background noise.
Birdie jumped in. Terry, by the way, said, yeah, this was almost as bad as the Steelers getting beat. It was almost that bad. Not as bad because the Steelers being down like that was just
the difference is one was an underdog doing it to a team that we thought would steamroll the other one.
This one was the favorite.
That's a huge difference. Is once the favorite starts steamrolling you, the mindset of most of the nation is this game's over with. At no point in time, as a Browns fan, did I feel comfortable with that game until the 4th interception.
Birdie said, I apologize for being mean last week. You didn't deserve that. You can have an opinion, and I don't have to agree, but I should not be mean. Do you remember Birdie being mean last week?
I don't remember it being mean, which is a good thing, Birdie. That means you didn't hurt her feelings bad enough to where we remember it.
Sir Dobby wants to know, are we going to unwrap the Cure Bowl with Liberty and Coastal? I mean, we talked about it a little bit back on, Taylor said on the 1228 show.
We've done a recap of most of the bowls up to now.
So or at least hit on them. We didn't do a full unwrapping, but
I mean there was 20 something bowls, 20 bowls,
24. I think it ended up being 24 of them. But either way, we touched on it. You know, maybe we talk about it when we're doing season previews and that kind of stuff. We're going through a list of different ideas to discuss for the SBR show. Terry said you can't hurt feelings if you ain't got none. That's true. That is true.
Well, Terry, I've definitely got feelings. So
let's talk about some of the latest news in college football right now. One of them is Kevin Steele got hired on at Tennessee as an assistant. Now they don't know what role he's going to be in yet. It's a $500,000 a year contract. It came the day after it was reported that they are they're doing a hiring freeze. And now there are people that are coming out saying, no, this was Jeremy Pruitt made this hire. He made this hire.
Because they hired 2 people, right? They hired him and an OC.
No, have they hired an OC? I don't think so.
I thought they hired an offensive guy. Oh, I thought they hired Rich Rod.
No. Louisiana Monroe hired Rich Rod.
Oh, you sent me that note, and I got
yeah. No. We'll talk about that.
Is really bad. I was like, wait, they had Rich Rod as their OC. Rich Rod's just hurting for just one and done jobs.
So let's see. Allfortennessee.com said that this is suspicious, and there are 5 possibilities for what's going on here. Possibility number 5, Schleybal's report is wrong about the hiring freeze last week, and he has been wrong before.
Nope, he has.
Possibility number 4, somebody is violating the rules. That means that somebody other than Pruitt made the hire, which is very possible. Very possible. Possibility number 3, a decision has been made to fire Jeremy Pruitt. And Kevin Steele, of course, is he's a Tennessee alum.
Do you think Steele is qualified based on his resume to have one of these big boy SEC jobs?
No.
When he was up for the Auburn job, I was like, are you kidding me? Maybe this guy, there you go. I have done very little research on Steele. I followed his career at Auburn. And he was a head coach. He was a head coach at Baylor, and they were terrible. I think he had 3 wins in 3 years. I can't believe that he has the resume but I mean, I guess at the same time, nobody in the world would have said Ed Orgeron had the resume to take over LSU.
That's entirely true. You never know what you're going to get.
So that right. It's hard for me being that guy with that being my coach and being able to say that. But I guess Ed had been an interim twice, in both interim times after his collapse completely. Both interim times,
he looked good.
Completely changed the program around.
Yeah,
and took ownership of. So I guess Kevin I haven't seen Steele do that. But
Kevin Steele was the defensive coordinator at Clemson when they gave up 70 to West Virginia in the Orange Bowl.
I was just about to say
what he did at Auburn was surprising. His job at Auburn was incredibly surprising, and it was a really good defensive coordinator job.
I thought he did fine. Well. I thought he did fine. Yeah. I don't know that he was great though, and I don't know that he was head coach great.
No, he certainly wasn't. Possibility number 2, they said the investigation has ended or is ending. So maybe that hiring freeze was only over. During whatever. Yeah. And possibility number 1, Kevin Steele's role does not conflict with the hiring freeze because he is not taking over one of the on-field positions. Maybe. I mean, it's possible because they have a defensive line and offensive line opening. Those are the 2 vacancies on the team. We'll see. We will see. I find it weird. I find it incredibly strange that Kevin Steele, whether it was the boosters or Steele himself working with the boosters to form some kind of a coup to get Gus Malzahn out at Auburn to get him the job, it's weird that they're going to bring him in as a guy, especially when you've got somebody that's in hot water the same way that Jeremy Pruitt is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an odd hiring.
I think this is a strange hire, and the total $500K just is.
Well, that's way less.
He's obviously not going to come in as the DC.
Nope.
Because that's not what DCs make. I mean, if he comes in as an analyst, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine because, I mean, that is kind of how you succeed in this game is you just surround yourself with a shitload of analysts because there's no limit to those guys.
Yeah.
And you know.
I mean, who knows? I think it's a good addition because I do think Kevin Steele, understands.
I think he's a very
football.
good coach. I don't know.
I don't know either. Chris Kennedy wants to know how we feel about Bill O'Brien as OC at Alabama and the rumors there. I think it's ridiculous that an offensive coordinator in the SEC would be filled by a just fired NFL head coach. That's insane.
A really good coach too, by the way, a guy that made the playoffs all the time. Bill O'Brien, let's make this clear. Bill O'Brien, very good coach, completely disastrous GM, but very, very good coach. Yeah. This guy could be a head coach anywhere he wants almost.
Yeah, it's strange. Andrew said, do you think Saban may have enticed him to come with possibly taking his place in the future? I think that that's certainly on the table for O'Brien. I think O'Brien wants to be in the NFL.
I would be shocked if Bill doesn't want to go back to the NFL.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong on that.
That doesn't make
I thought he was a very, very good coach. He's a guy that you can get on the cheap right now. And, of course, Bama's probably going to pay him a lot of money, which is fine. But for him to be an OC is insane. That's just insane. He's grossly overqualified for that job.
Agreed. Now, as an Alabama fan, absolutely. I'll take it any day of the week. I think it'd be great. But I do think it is ridiculous that this is even a possibility. So, Taylor wants to know, off topic, what sports gambling podcast are y'all listening to? Well, the sports gambling podcast is a good one. Three Dog Thursday, of course, a lot of fun. TJ, our buddy from Tampa, is on that one. We listen to the College Sports Podcast from Yahoo.
That's not really a gambling podcast.
Well, that's not. He said sports/gambling podcast.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. So hit us up on Twitter for that one because I can't think off the top of my head.
I mean, I can tell you that I listen to Extra Points because of Sal. I like him. And I listen to a few of the Ringer NFL shows. I don't listen to all of them. They do one a day. They have a different combo. The best one, in my opinion, is the Friday one with Joe House, who I find very, very funny and likable, and Warren Sharp, who I think might be the smartest football mind.
Oh, yes.
That's not in football.
Oh, 100%. The Cover 3 podcast, RJ Young's show on YouTube is great. He's now with Fox Sports.
Yeah. And then that college, I'll tell you, the best podcast that I have right now that I listen to out of every podcast I listen to is a Yahoo College Sports podcast.
There you go.
I grew up worshiping Pat Forty and Dan Wetzel and those guys. And that's just, they began their careers writing when I began loving sports and really getting into sports. And that's what I've known most of my life is those two men. And that's it.
If you really want college football, the Cover 3 podcast and the Late Kick podcast with Josh Pate. We're probably going to have Josh on the show. I hadn't told you about this, Chris. We'll probably have Josh on with us to just talk about.
Does he know that?
Yeah, he knows. I've already talked to him. Yeah. So we'll likely have him on.
That's an important part of that equation.
Yes, no, 100%. So I don't know if it'll be for SBR or for here, but he'll be on with us eventually. Deep Dive of Will Capper podcast is good, though that is NFL. That's what Birdie said. Terry said, what about this one you're listening to? It's the best one. Share out, winning cures everything. Yeah, 100%. Share this one out. Hopefully you all listen to this one regularly.
Appreciate it.
Let's Rich Rod. So Terry Bowden got the Louisiana Monroe job, right? And his offensive coordinator hire is Rich Rodriguez. I was shocked about that. You know that there's not a lot of money down there. So, and Rich Rod, of course, coached with Tommy Bowden at Tulane, and then Rich Rod got his own gig and turned that into West Virginia, turned it into Michigan, which turned into Arizona, and then the Ole Miss, whatever. What he did at Ole Miss, I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I did too. And we knew that was a job that he was going to lose quickly.
Yeah.
Because we knew everyone around here that grew up in our area knew that Matt Luke was gone as soon as the the probation and the NCAA violations were done. And so he took that job knowing I'm going to lose my job after this year, but he still took it. So you talk about money wise. I don't know that everybody in the world's motivated by money, but also while we all want more and more, Rich Rod's made a lot of money. So to live in that part of the country, that's pretty damn cheap to live in, by the way.
True.
You have a couple $1 million in the bank. You are the richest person in that town, and it's not close. And you know, the head coach is probably the only guy more than you. And, you know, outside of him inheriting most of his money, he hasn't made more money than Rich Rod has over their careers.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
So I don't know
it's
that
weird.
It's not okay to go there and just take a job. If you love football and you love what you're doing and you are set money wise, I think that's okay. You know, it doesn't raise up any questions or red flags for me. At some point,
there's no red flags.
Maybe you want to call home.
I'm just curious. Like,
it is weird. I guess red flags. I mean questions. Like it is a strange hire because we think. I mean, there's got to be 200 jobs out there in college football that you could go get that's better than this.
Yeah, I would think so.
But I don't. You know,
who knows? Matt Miller jumps in. James Harden got traded to Brooklyn. If you didn't know, we talked about that off the top of the show because it happened right as we were going live. Mark said, "Hi, boys. Irish let us down. Didn't let me down. So, you know, they were perfectly fine. They not only did Alabama win, but Notre Dame covered. And
that's right.
And we did all right on that. So
hey, so how did we finish in the picks? Because we did pretty good this year.
So I believe
total record.
You finished 30-20, and I was 29-21. So we both had the over.
You had Ohio State.
Yeah, I had Ohio State,
which
plus
I thought was strange, but maybe you were just trying to do the reverse jinx thing. I don't know.
No, Alabama in championship games when Saban's only got like 10 days to prepare, like he's 0-4 against the spread in the college football playoff national championship game. Like even when they win.
You know how I do not care about things that happened 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Agreed.
Because that ain't this team.
But I also thought that Ohio State had plenty of talent offensively and that I thought they would attack Alabama's weaknesses. We both saw Alabama's defensive weaknesses.
Yeah. No, we saw them, but I never thought. My issue was, and I'll tell you my logic behind my pick, is simply this. Ohio State has 3 great offensive players, okay? They got a receiver that's unbelievable. They got a running back that's unbelievable. They got a quarterback that's unbelievable, okay?
Yeah.
Alabama has like 7 outstanding offensive players.
No, it's true. I mean,
and that's the difference. Well, I'll take the 7 over the 3.
No, I mean, look,
because when one of those 3 went down, they didn't have anybody to step up and really take that place, which I guess they did, but it's just not the same.
No, you're 100% right.
Bama had guys dropping like flies, and they just didn't seem to miss a beat.
Birdie jumps in. Mercer money line is live tonight, and the Suns -5. My 2 best picks for tonight. Look,
God. I don't even know what sport you're talking about. I don't know
college basketball and
that's you're speaking a different language right now. Okay.
I've been dabbling here and there back into. I'm trying to get the college football stuff set before I dive back into college basketball. College basketball has been insane. Absolutely insane this year. Like, none of it makes any sense. Mark said I was meaning Notre Dame winning the ACC championship. Yeah, they certainly let us down there.
No, that's where I did. Oh, I wanted that more than you could imagine. Not even because I had a ticket on it, but just it meant a lot.
Yeah. Taylor said would have been hilarious if Notre Dame joined the conference, won it, and then left again the next year. Yeah, that's kind of what we were hoping for.
Well, they're definitely leaving. They're definitely going to take all their NBC money and saying, that was fun. All right. Now we're good.
Taylor said, Colin Cowherd, quote, what is a Mercer? Yeah.
That's right.
And then Bertie said, that's why I sent it, because I'm only dabbling in it right now. Let's see. Hey, Seahawks fire offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, and it is time to celebrate.
I was just about to say, man, how long have me and you been saying, why is this guy employed?
It is unbelievable to me that
team has been offensively so bad because of this man right here.
It's what I talked about
3 years,
when we
4
did
years.
When we did our recap on Monday. It's what I talked about in that in the middle of the second quarter, Russell Wilson had only thrown 4 passes. 4 passes. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
Like, I understand wanting to be run heavy. I understand that, but like, you can pass the ball to set up the run. That's how the NFL is built. built now.
Oh my gosh. I just want to scream right now. You're exactly right. This is what you learn if you listen to that NFL Ringer show with Warren Sharp. You will learn that if you want to dominate the run game, you do it by passing on first down, because it is so much easier to run the ball on 2nd and 4 than it is on 1st and 10. It's ridiculous how easy it is to run the ball on 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4 than it is to run it on 1st and 10.
Yes.
You can get the run game going. You can smash people in the face. My Cleveland Browns did it against the Steelers for the first time all year. We weren't predictable. We threw the ball on first down. We ran it on 2nd down. It was unbelievable. And I can't understand how dumbass moron Neanderthal, me, on the couch, has seen enough football in the last 3 to 4 years to know the game has changed. It has evolved. I love watching teams run the football. I do. But running it on 1st and 10 means you're throwing it on 2nd and 10. You're throwing it on 3rd and 10. Your offense has now become predictable. When you're predictable, it doesn't matter how great you are, how talented you are. In the NFL, this isn't college football. This isn't Alabama against everyone else. Even bad defenses, if they know what's coming, can stop it.
Yeah.
They just can. They just can.
It's insane. But Tennessee Titans, by the way. So, and Arthur Smith is getting he's getting head coaching interviews and whatnot.
He should be. He should be getting head coaching interviews.
Absolutely. But against the Ravens, they had 16 first down plays.
Yeah.
Ran on 12 of them. Now, it's a little different when you got Derrick Henry.
I was just about to say he's got a monster that you can give it to, but I still don't like it. What happens if you give that ball to Derrick Henry at 2nd and 5?
Exactly.
Because it's a hell of a lot better. It's just and if you get 2 or 3 passing first downs on first down and you want to run it then I'm fine with it, because now they don't know what's coming. But if you're just a team that historically runs the football on first down, guess what? Other teams know that you're running it on first down. And if you don't get a lot of yards on first, on the run, they know you're throwing on 2nd. If that doesn't work, they know you're throwing it on 3rd. And now you're really easy to stop. And it drives me bonkers. It really does.
Matt Miller says, Gary, have you been dressing up and playing as James Harden? He looks like he's been hitting the buffet at the strip clubs. I have not. I'm not a James Harden fan, but I see where you're coming from. I can see it. Yeah. So that guy just looks like a shell of himself. He's still a great player, but either way. Cousin
Sal said he wants out of Houston because he's finally hit every restaurant in Houston, and now he's going to go to probably the best food city in the world, and he's got a smorgasbord of places to go to there.
You got it. Plenty of strip clubs in Brooklyn. Zamora said, we in here, Rams, Browns, Ravens, money line. Taylor said, I think teams just know how to shut down runners. That's not always the case, but
that's not always the case. But when they know it's coming, I think that the Packers have shown all year they struggle stopping the run.
Yeah.
But they had no problem stopping the run against the Titans. And I don't know that that's because it was snowing outside. I think that they knew the Titans were going to run the football. They were very predictable, and they were able to stop them pretty easily.
If the defense knows what's coming, it's pretty easy to stop, regardless of what the
even when they're bad
got.
At that one thing, they're still able to stop it.
Yeah.
Somebody else has a really bad run defense historically, and they like showed up and stopped somebody. I don't remember from running the football. I don't even know who it was, but anyway. It was in the Colts Bills game. Like the Bills, like all year, have had one of the worst run defenses in the league, and it wasn't until late in the game before the Colts were able to run the ball because they were finally getting their offense going, throwing the ball, and then they could gash those big runs. But yeah, like they knew you were going to try to run the football early, and they tried to stop it. So
Zamora said it was damn well because it was snowing. Ha. I mean, maybe it was. Who knows?
I don't know if the snow stopped Henry completely. I think they knew it was coming.
Matt Miller said Marcus Freeman was an A+ hire for Notre Dame. Certainly
he was. I'm not happy about that. But
Mark said today is the anniversary of when Burrow pointed at the ring finger. That is true. Let's see, Terry. Just give it to Henry constantly. Run his best play. Run through an MFer's face at every play. Well, that didn't work.
He hit some of those holes in the Ravens game, and Henry was the one that went backwards.
Yep, you are correct. Let's see. Matt Miller, the Nets have collected all the crazy stones with Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. Durant has at least matured a little, though.
I was just about to say, I don't see Durant as a problem or a crazy person. So
No,
he's never really been that. I wasn't a fan of going and playing friends and family basketball and this team that's won 3 championships in a row. Hey, I'm going to go play with them and we'll moonwalk to a 4th. But that he wasn't a problem child. He's not an insane person. Yeah. These other two are. Kyrie is an insane person. Yes. I'm not a doctor, but I think Kyrie's got the stuff, got a hum in the drum, man. I think he's got issues.
The stuff that is going on with Kyrie Irving is next level, just insane. The COVID stuff, like saying that he can't show up to work, but then there's videos of him,
effing like Hugh's party.
Yes.
That didn't he throw the party?
It was like one of his family members' birthday parties or something.
But I thought, maybe he's paying for it, but I thought he threw the party for him. I don't know.
I think he paid for it, but he didn't throw it.
But then like he's like on like the city council Zoom call, like trying to make a difference in his local community, which is what we talk about all the time. If you're gonna have a problem with politics, nothing we can do unless you're just some elite power guy and we don't know it. Is going to affect anything in Washington, but you can't affect your neighborhood. So I was like, I appreciate him doing that. I kind of don't know that he's the guy I want making all those decisions, but all right, he's involved. I have appreciation for that. He's crazy, man.
He's nuts.
It's crazy.
Let's go ahead and move into the NFL divisional playoff previews, picks, all that. We've got 4 games. We'll kind of roll through these fairly quickly. I say fairly quickly. We're going to break down at some point. Birdie said, "What are your picks for NFL this weekend? I have to go soon." Well, that's what we're jumping in for. Damian said, "What's up?" Rams at Packers. All right, so we got 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. The afternoon game on Saturday, Rams at Packers. Packers a 6.5-point favorite. The game's on Fox, by the way. Total is 45.5. Did we lose Chris?
Nope, I'm still here.
Okay, we lost your video for.
I have no idea how or why. I wonder if it came unplugged.
Who knows? All it's saying is your name up there. But either way, so Green Bay at home, they of course got the first round bye. I think that the Packers are going to be fine here. It seems like a lot of points on the surface. The Rams are dealing with some injuries. They are going to rely on Cam Akers here, but it depends on how predictable they get with that offense. They were able to shut down. There you go. They were able to shut down the Seahawks last week. I don't know that you will be able to shut down Aaron Rodgers, especially in the cold, right? So Jared Goff, of course, still dealing with a little bit of an injury. Aaron Donald dealing with a little injury himself. I'm very curious about this. I don't like the Rams in this spot. Give me a reason why I should, though.
I can't. Okay. I mean, I know the Packers historically struggle against the run, and we have seen the last couple of weeks Cam Akers just finally realize his abilities with this team and them kind of make him the center of the offense. I would like to know Aaron Donald's playing. I would like to know that Goff is playing and healthy. We talked about it on the recap of last week on Monday's show. I have no earthly idea why, if Goff was healthy enough to come in and play, why in the hell in a playoff game Goff was not playing. I don't understand that. That's weird to me. I need to know those 2 guys are playing for me to even consider the Rams. With the question mark of those teams, and even that doesn't even mean that it's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers' resume in playoffs is not good. You take the year that he won the Super Bowl, which he won 4 games, you take those 4 wins out, and his playoff record is not good at all. Yeah. But this Rams team, if there's a chance that the best player in all of football, Aaron Donald, might not be there, and that, they're starting Wharf, I think it would make me worry.
So they haven't. So Rams Wire, NFL.com, DraftKings Nation, like all this. Wolford has not practiced. Jared Goff is practicing. McVay said that he will not name a starting quarterback yet.
No, but it's got to be Goff. If one guy's practicing, this is the playoffs, man.
Yeah, Wolford is day to day. So who knows? And then Zamora said Donald says he's playing. Well, yeah, but he's still not going to be 100%. Damian said Rams win by 7. Birdie,
I would love to see that. God, I'd love to see it.
Birdie said, how many playoff games has Rodgers won in the playoffs in Green Bay? This fade the Rams because it's cold is silly. True,
no,
but
it's not because
but
it's
not
in
that.
Green Bay.
Yeah, it's not because it's that. I don't care where the game is. There's no fans. There's no whatever. That doesn't matter.
Well, it's the cold will matter to players that aren't used to playing in cold. I mean, that we've seen that affect people. It won't affect them. They won't affect the Packers in a negative way at all. The problem is Rodgers hadn't been good in the playoffs, but also up until this year, Rodgers hasn't been that MVP guy that he was a long time ago.
Yeah,
he just hasn't been. And you know, I don't know what to say. I can't explain it. I think he's good enough to get this win.
Zamora said Ramsey versus Adams. I guess he's saying that that's going to be the matchup to watch.
Now that will be, it'll be
fun.
That will be an incredible matchup. If Ramsey shut down Adams, I think the Rams win this game.
It's very possible.
I do think the Rams win this game. I think that's the one downside about the Packers, man. This is an Alabama, Ohio State situation in the sense of not that the other team has any weapons at all, but they got one great weapon, and he might be the best receiver in football. But if you can find a way to take him down or just bring him down a little bit, man, I think that takes so much of their offense away. That would hurt. That would hurt. If you could do it with one guy without double teaming, holy shit. That'll
be incredible.
I would think the Rams would win outright. This is a situation where I'm going to take the Packers. But I know that there's a world in which this is probably my least favorite bet if I had to rank them 1 through 4.
You taking the under 45.5?
I'm not playing any totals. I don't have any totals that I like at all. If I had to play a total, yes, I'd take the under.
I'm going to take that under 45.5. That feels like too many points. The Flying Hawaiian said Packers defense gets their butt kicked across the field all day. And Birdie said the Rams can defend the pass, they can defend the rush, and the Rams can run the football. I mean, all those things are true.
That's usually like literally the playbook to win in the playoffs. That's usually it. I at some point in time, Aaron Rodgers has got to be Aaron Rodgers if he wants to be considered in the top 10 of all time in the playoffs. He's got the resume for the regular season, but man, like I said, he's got that one. If you take the 4 wins that you get for winning the Super Bowl out, and it doesn't look good.
No, you're right about that. Birdie said I'm on the under and the Rams. All the money on the Pack, and this line is still dropping. Damian, of course, the number of people that come into our show thinking of conspiracies is a little mind-boggling. I will say that. Damian said that's because the Packers have paid or haven't paid the NFL under the table like that. Like the Pats, I guess, have for Brady. That's why Rodgers isn't MVP anymore. I don't think that's why Brady was winning MVP.
Just completely asinine.
Mark said, I heard Rodgers is going to host Jeopardy. Yes, he's going to be a guest host after the playoffs.
He's going to be a guest host one time after the season.
Yep, you got it. So, and I'm kind of interested to see that. Kind of interested.
Yep.
All right, moving on, the NBC Saturday night game.
What's your pick? Are you still on the Pack?
I'm on the Pack. I'm taking Packers. Yeah,
I'm taking the Packers too. I just got to believe Rodgers is eventually going to turn into Rodgers in the playoffs.
I like a lot of favorites this week.
All the shit that he does, in the regular season is so cool. It's so great. Okay. He just can't do it in January.
Yeah. Now
you're hasn't
right.
done it in January.
Ravens at the Bills is on NBC, and Bills 2.5-point favorite, total of 50 here. I love the over in this spot because I do think that both teams are going to get theirs. The Bills, we thought that their defense had come along. They gave up some points late to the Colts. Looked like the Colts had kind of figured them out a little bit.
Yeah,
I still like the Bills' ability to score points even on this Ravens defense.
I like the Bills less than 3 points, man.
Yes.
Some of this is want, though. Some of this is I want to see the Bills in the AFC Championship game.
And I could see a little bit of bias, maybe. But this is, it opened at 2.5. It is still sitting at 2.5, and it's about as 50-50 as you can get.
No, it's just, this is an even bet. This is a good number. I think this is the right number, by the way. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be an ass whooping either way. I think this is going to be a field goal game either way. So,
yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I do like the Bills here. Lamar Jackson has never played in snow, which we've chatted back and forth in our group chat about that.
It's strange.
It was a little surprising, but when you think about where he went to school, where he's from, all that, like it didn't have a lot of opportunities to play in the snow.
Yeah, but Baltimore usually is cold. Baltimore gets snow. I've watched the Patriots go into Baltimore and it's snowing its ass off there. Like, that's strange that they haven't – I guess they haven't played deep enough into the playoffs to get snow, or somehow they've avoided snow in December and January when they've played home games.
Yeah. Look at the other – it's amazing that they haven't had snow in Pittsburgh. They haven't had snow in Cincy.
In Cincinnati or Cleveland.
Any of these places.
Because you play all these divisional games at the end of the year, too.
Yeah. It's
like
definitely
all
strange.
four of their divisional games, all four of these divisional teams all play in snow. And then they always get matched up with the Patriots, the Jets, the Bills, like that division a lot. Like, it's weird. It's strange.
The Flying Hawaiian jumped in. It was -3 to -1, back to -2.5. Well, it opened at 2.5. It jumped to 3, and then it went back to da-da-da-da.
Yeah, back to 1.
Mark said there's snow in Texas. Yeah, that's. There's snow
we got
everywhere.
A touch of snow in Mississippi.
Yeah, we got a dusting the other day. Just ridiculous.
We did. Now all south of us got a lot.
You like Buffalo?
I like Buffalo.
I'm going the same way, and you taking that over with me?
Yeah, I would take the over if I don't like either. I don't like any of these. I'm not making a gambling pick on him, but I would take the over.
Okay. Moving on to Sunday, CBS in the afternoon, the Browns at the Chiefs. It's a 10-point line. That just seemed insane to me. Total of 57 here. I like the under on the 57, which I know is kind of insane. But I feel like that's more like a principle kind of thing, because we saw Cleveland go bananas last week. I don't think they're going to do that this week. However, I do like the Browns to cover the 10 points here. 10 points is just too many points. Like,
a lot of points.
I just don't.
In a divisional round of the playoffs.
Birdie said, man, first two games are totally opposite. That's okay. That's Birdie, look, you might be doing better by going opposite of us, my friend. And so that's what I would say.
I did pretty good last week. I went 4-2.
Yeah, you did well. Yeah, you did well. But definitely going opposite of me might be okay. I did not do well last week. So the Browns last week got the monkey off their back. They got the first playoff win since 2003? Is that right?
No,
1990
something.
First, it was the first playoff appearance
when they won the first playoffs appearance.
That's right. So the Browns stuff, like, Baker looked really good last week.
Baker has changed so much this season from the beginning of the season, where I have still shots. I have screenshots of two guys wide open. And when I say wide open, nobody within 5 yards of one guy, which doesn't happen in the NFL. Nobody within 9 yards of the other guy who's standing in the middle of the end zone. And he misses that guy by, 8 yards over his head. Yeah. I'm talking just uncatchable footballs.
Or where he's throwing to guys that are double and triple covered.
Or he's just throwing to guys double and triple covered, just forcing balls in. To now, he looks like he's making better decisions. This is a mark of Stefanski. I will tell you that. This is where somebody on this coaching staff has gotten into his head and has taught him. And the reason it was strange, and you don't really see that evolution, we see bad Baker, bad Baker, bad Baker, bad Baker, and then good Baker, is because they played 4 weeks in a row in the craziest, shittiest weather you could ever imagine. And during that time, he's learning to play the game. He's getting better at playing the game, but you can't really see it because they're just not throwing the football much. But it doesn't stop his education. It doesn't stop as he's progressing and learning and what they're getting in practice and indoor facilities and they're able to do. And then finally we get some clean weather, and he looked like a different player.
Flying Hawaiian said Kansas City 0-7-1 against the spread in their last 8. Up until last year, they were terrible at home in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they've got Patrick Mahomes. Now the 10 here is, I just think it is an insane number. I don't know that Kansas City can just flip a switch, and now they did last year.
They did last year because they did the same thing.
But they
didn't look this bad last year going into the playoffs.
And what's crazy, would they have 4 losses last year?
Yeah.
Well, now they've only had 1 loss in this entire season, and they do kind of flip a switch somewhere in the middle of the game. It's like they just have to.
I'm going to tell you. I said this about the Steelers when I picked the Browns last week. There's no reason, there's no rhyme, except for if the Steelers look like they looked against the Bengals in Washington, then the Steelers are going to lose this game. Okay.
Yeah, and you were right.
And I was right. If the Chiefs look like they looked against the Chargers and against the Falcons last couple of games of the season, Browns coming in, Browns going to take the W. They're going to win the game. They're going to win the game outright. If this Chiefs team looked like they looked against Atlanta and LA the last 2 games of the season, that's happening. Now, I think they're a better team than that. I think that they can flip a switch. I'm definitely taking the points with the Browns, but man, if it's not a flip and a switch thing and they don't have the ability to beat somebody that way, they better be careful. Because if that's who they were when they played Atlanta to an absolute miracle field goal, and then took Atlanta missing a big time field goal to tie it, I don't know if that team can win in the playoffs very much.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's insane to say, right?
No, I don't think it's insane.
Well, I mean,
I get where you're coming from.
Everybody in the world hailed Patrick Mahomes as when he won last year. They all just said, "Oh, well, this is the new Tom, and he's gonna win 6-2." Like, how many is he going to get in the next 10 years? And I told everybody, let's pump the brakes on that, okay? Yeah. Because nobody in history has ever done it. Aaron Rodgers won a championship in a dominating fashion. And everybody said, well, how many is he going to get in 3 or 4 years? And he never got another one, and he's only won like 3 other playoff games the rest of the time, all right? Like, we just keep chalking these guys up to the next heir apparent, and they're not that, all right?
No, they're definitely not.
Breeze got his one. Where the rest?
The reason I like Cleveland here is complacency is a real thing. Like,
I think so too.
How hungry are the Chiefs? You know, like that's what I'm curious about.
I gotta think they're hungry, and I think they're incredibly well coached. I don't know, man.
No, they're certainly hungry. They're certainly well coached, but there's a reason they call it the Patriot way. Like, the Patriots are a different thing because they do this all the time, right? They are capable of, well,
they don't allow you to enjoy winning.
Right.
And that's it. And it's the Saban thing too. I mean, is the only reason I can't give Alabama the credit that I give the Patriots is because Bill has to do it with inferior talent constantly. And Alabama literally rolls out of bed and gets the top 10 best players in football. And okay, how hard is that? You know,
I mean, obviously it's pretty hard if nobody other than Saban has been capable.
But nobody other than Saban can get those players.
Okay,
that's not true, Gary. It's not hard when you have all of the best players.
But why? That's part of the job in college. Is recruiting. Like, Kirby Smart's been able to do it. Ohio State's been recruiting guys. Like,
they don't have close to the talent that Bama has.
That's it. That's just not. That's the other part of it is player development.
Last year's team. Was there any school, not even my LSU Tigers, that beat the hell out of everybody? Was there any school that had a player at a wide receiving core that was Ruggs, Judy, Waddle, and Smith? Four of the best receivers in football, maybe in the history of football. Was there any other school that had close to that?
3 of those were 4 stars, right?
Okay. All right. One of mine was a 2-star, and he's also going to be the Rookie of the Year this year.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. It's player development.
But that's not player development, Gary. That's not player development.
How is that not what are you talking about?
Those guys would have gone, and they would have been the stars that they are no matter where they went. They just got that kind of talent.
I don't know if I believe that. I just can't buy into that. Like,
I don't think that they give 5-star grades to a lot of receivers. That's the thing. Because 5 stars is hard to get. They don't give a lot of 5 stars out.
Yeah, there's only like 30 a year. Like,
yeah. So that's and receivers just don't get them. All right.
Well, and some of them do. Like, Jerry Jeudy was one of them.
Some they just don't give many out. So you don't get to say, though, they were all 4 stars. They all should have been 5 stars if you really grade it correctly.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Flying Hawaiian, by the way, Kansas City pulls out a comeback to win by 3. That's his prediction. Zamora, y'all notice y'all notice same seeding advance from AFC and NFC after Super Bowl. Yeah, the 3 seed in both got beat, and the 4 seed in both got beat. So, that's.
I like the Browns. I like the Browns with the chance to win this thing.
I kind of do the same thing. Now, the other part of this is. Are the Browns kind of doing the same Ohio State thing, right? Where they first win in Pittsburgh since '99, finally get the playoff monkey off their back?
No,
like,
because
are they
this is
super
professional
excited?
football players.
Agreed.
Professional football player. And they also play with a complete mass unit on offensive line. So that'll be better. You got a lot of guys that didn't get Joe Bitonio, who's the longest tenured Browns player. He's the only Browns player that was on the 0-16 team and the 1-31 team. That's still there. And he's our best offensive lineman. And he didn't get to play. Like, you've got a lot of guys that are still fighting. Like, this is the professionals. This is not, oh, we won the Super Bowl. Yes, they did something they've never done before, but that's not a reason for, I mean, if they get beaten this game, it's because the Chiefs are just better. There's a reason it's a 10-point line, by the way. Okay. Patrick Mahomes is better. Tyreek Hill is better than any player that's on the Browns team. What's his ass? The big ass tight end. He's better than everybody on the Browns team. Okay. Like, that's just, this is the one team that's got the running back core that can hang with Cleveland. So there's a reason. I'd probably take the over in this game. I think the Browns are going to score on them. The Chiefs defense doesn't scare me. I know they've held some teams to some low totals. This is the playoffs. These are two offensive-minded coaches. These are two offensive-minded head coaches that call their own plays. I just think they're going to put up points. They're going to put up points in bunches.
Joe Bitonio and Denzel Ward, among others, likely back for this game, by the way.
Oh, if we get Ward back, shit, I was expecting to go through the playoffs without Ward. We played 90% of the season without Ward, so.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be back, though. So
that'd be huge. Well, I knew Bitonio would be. He was a COVID out, and, he was just, non-symptomatic. And
as of yesterday, the backups for those, the replacements for Bitonio and Ward, they lost both of them to injuries. Guard Michael Dunn and cornerback Robert Jackson were placed on injured reserve on Tuesday.
Dunn's the guy that a guy named Blake came in for, the NU guy, and so.
Yep, that is the way that it goes. So, all right, so there we go. All right, moving on from that last game, Bucks and Saints. It's on Fox. Saints -3, total of 52 here, and we get to see Brady and Breeze for the third time this season. Of course, it is in New Orleans. New Orleans kind of handled Tampa Bay the first two times, and obviously the second time was a
beat them by 11, beat them by 35.
Yeah, very much. Just complete beatdown. But now, of course, we're in the playoffs. Our buddy TJ Reeves is going to be on the sideline. He is the sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the Bucks defense, like all the numbers are there, right? Everything looks good. If you look at them from an analytical perspective, you would think that they would have a really, really good shot in this game. The opening line here was 3.5 with a total of 51. The over is jumped up. It's up to 52. Yeah. And I do kind of like the over 52 because I think you're going to see some points here. But it's -3 across the board now. If you look at Prediction Tracker, let's see, they expect a total of 53.5. And let's see, their prediction average here is Saints by 2.67. It is really difficult to beat a team 3 times unless you are really, really, really better than that team. Do we think that the Saints are better than the Bucks? Like, really, really better?
I don't. I think their defense is better. I do think the Saints have the best defense. They've got the best defense of anybody playing right now that's left in the games. Michael Thomas is a game changer. Healthy him, healthy Kamara is the only thing that scares me. Drew Brees just doesn't scare me, man. I mean, if he gets the ball to Thomas, it's going to be a dump pass, which that doesn't matter because Thomas can take it to the house anytime he wants. He's just that good. He's just that athletic, and Kamara can do the exact same thing. I'm going to take the Bucks because that's what I do. I'm going to bet on Tom because that's what I do, and that's what I've done my entire life, and it worked out for the most part. I love that man, and I'm not steering away from that. I can see how this is not going to go the way I want it to. It wouldn't surprise me, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Tom is a different quarterback in January than he is in the regular season. You get that pressure on him in the regular season, he just goes down. He's not going to let you hit him. He's going to take the sack. In this game, he's not going to just take that sack. He's going to get the ball out and he's going to try to make a play. And, sometimes that could bite him and you could pick the ball off and take it the other way. Sometimes it won't. I don't think it'll be a 35-point game like it was the last time they played. And I don't even think it'll be an 11-point game, but I get to start with a head start of 3 points. Some places 3.5. I'll take it.
Tom Brady is 4-3, both straight up and against the spread as an underdog in the postseason. He's only been an underdog 7 times. That's pretty incredible. Zamora said that he likes the Saints here. Mark said that Brady strikes again. Blake said the GOAT will be ready. And then Terry said, I feel like this is the end of the run for Brady.
Well, it's not the end of the run because he will definitely be back next year, and he looks good. Like, he looks fine. It's the end of the run for Breeze if Breeze loses because that's a guy that looks like he's done playing football. I think that's the difference in this game is I feel like the football gods, the football karma owes it to the person that's the better player. Okay? One of these guys is going to hang it up after this year because he's done. He just can't play football anymore.
Yeah,
the other one,
the Saints do not win based on Drew Brees
no,
anymore.
Sir. That defense is incredible. Michael Thomas is incredible. We didn't talk about him as the best receiver in football this year because he missed such a big chunk of it, but he is back and he deserves to be in that conversation because he's that damn good.
Oh, yeah.
And Alvin Kamara is in the conversation as the best running back in the game. That's hard to beat. You got a great defense and 2 great skill players like that. That's real hard to beat.
Oh yeah. And it's not even just them. I mean, you got great running backs around them.
Just have everybody else.
Yeah, just a ton of great players surrounding Drew Brees.
Is struggling to keep up.
Yes, I do agree with that. We'll see. Mark said Brees is still hurt, I think.
I probably agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know that a 42-year-old man, he just turned 42. I don't know that a 42-year-old man can recover from 11 broken ribs while still playing football.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I didn't think he would come back and play at all this year because I thought the rib injury was going to be too much.
I'm going to take New Orleans minus the 3. I think that they've got the better overall team.
If I didn't have a dog in the fight, that'd be the pick.
None of these teams winning would surprise me in the slightest. Even the Browns as a 10-point underdog, it would not surprise me. I just, I do like the over here. The Saints, I feel like Damian said Jameis Winston should play this game right after he said screw the Saints. Look, I feel like this is the kind of year where the Saints would make the Super Bowl, right? That's what it feels like to me because they are the model of consistency. It's not putting together a team at the last minute the way that the Bucs did. It's not, they've had Sean Payton there forever. They've been reaching for this goal forever. It feels like, in the playoffs, they always have all of this pressure on them. And I feel like with no fans in the stands, maybe it's not as much pressure. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what
that game against the Rams, they completely had that game won, I believe. I just believe they had that game won.
Oh, yeah.
And it was ripped from them. Now, I know they could have won it still, but they shouldn't have had to win it still. Like, it was over. So I don't know that it's pressure. I don't know that that has anything to do with it. I do worry about, them being able to go on a quote unquote run because if Green Bay wins, big if, then they're going to Lambeau. And I do not think Breeze is going to go outside in the cold and play. I think the rest of the team can be fine because I think they're NFL players. I don't think that from 42-year-old Breeze.
You might be right. Flying Hawaiian said this is the toughest pick of the week, which is
it's
crazy.
Only a tough pick because we believe in Tom and the lore of Tom, which I do, and I do. But if he's not magic, and there's no magical circumstances here, and he's just a guy, every statistical number tells you the Saints are better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Bucs are better at them depth-wise at receiver, but they don't have anybody as good as Michael Thomas. So make that what you want. And they're better with Tom Brady. But every other level of the game, you would take the Saints.
You taking that over?
Yeah, I would take the over. I think the Bucks are going to show up and score points. I do. I would be shocked if the Bucks show up and score and the Saints can't.
Flying Hawaiian said tease the Bills and the Bucks. The issue with that with the Bills is that you're teasing through zero, and
you're teasing through zero where you don't have any value. I'm not a big fan of that. Of course, you know me. I don't play a lot of teasers anyway. Make a side, pick a side, and ride with the side.
Yep. I'm with you. All right. I think that's all we need to cover today.
Yeah, man. We hit a bunch.
Oh, we sure did. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you, Damian. Thank you, everybody, Flying Hawaiian, Mark, everybody that jumped in the chat today. You guys are fantastic. Matt Miller, Birdie, all the rest of them, the usuals. We appreciate all of you for being here every single time that we do this. You make the show go. We appreciate the comments. So keep that thing going. We will be back here on Friday discussing even more stuff because you know that the world never stops. The news cycle continues on and on. That's the way it goes. Flying Hawaiian said, good luck this weekend, gentlemen. We are going to need it. We are going to need it.
We'll be back Friday, though. We'll be back Friday. You can wish us luck then.
You got that. Terry said, share it out. Love the show. Great job, guys. We appreciate that, Terry, for sure. Yes, definitely share the show out. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, go ahead and like this. Click the retweet or the share button or whatever. Tell your friends about it. That's the easiest way you can do it. And if you missed the show or missed part of the show or whatever, you can always go back and rewatch the replay or just do us a favor and download the podcast. Make sure you are subscribed anywhere that you get your podcast. Apple Podcasts is where you can leave a nice 5-star review. We would certainly appreciate that. All right, let's get out of here. WinningCuresEverything.com, SBRpicks.com/NCAAF. That is our college football gambling content over there. You can find that on YouTube. Just search out SBR Picks. For now, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And hopefully, we can cash some tickets. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review.